You and I, we're breaking bounds on Baobab.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Stella Serem. I am the Training and Learning Manager at the Global Give Back Circle based in Kenya. And I am also responsible for implementing the Baobab Platform Mentorship Program. I would like to take this chance to welcome all of you to this webinar today. It's going to be one of a kind as you get to draw inspiration from a story of hope and resilience, a story of never giving up, a story of chasing your dream no matter what. We are privileged today to have on board Dan Atok from South Sudan, who is a Humphrey Fulbright Fellow at Arizona State University. Dan has a degree in public relations and a Master of Arts degree in monitoring and evaluation. He currently works as a station manager for a humanitarian radio program serving refugees from Sudan and has been in the media industry for more than 10 years, serving in different capacities. Dan, please feel most welcome today, and we are all eager to hear and learn from your story. Welcome.
Thank you, Stella, for this very lovely introduction, and thanks everyone who has joined this morning. Once again, good morning, good evening to wherever you are. Normally, we human person are attuned to the environment we are. So I always tell everyone good morning. If it is morning here, I wouldn't guess that there's somebody somewhere that is in evening or midnight or whatever it is. This discussion may not take so much time. I would just go straight to what I would want to share. The story that I would want to share is that story that any of us, or nearly almost all of us who come from the continent of Africa, might have one time undergone or known somebody who has experienced the same situation. This is a simple story of group of kids, of which I was one of them. And I would want to relate this story to resonate with each of you and to see yourself in the picture of this world of adversity, of competition, of everything that is there. This story started way back in 1988. When I was a small boy in a village somewhere in South Sudan. South Sudan so far is the world's youngest nation in the world, got independent in 2011. And I would want to link this story to that event and to my own self. As you can see this picture, these are a group of kids. They all look alike. They're almost putting on the same clothes. They are either half naked or somehow to that. This is not few of them. This is not the entire group. This is just what the photographer was able to capture. I think it was a desperate journey as you can look at that background, and these kids of the same age are walking barefoot. So that story, to me, is a story of resilience, is a story of courage, is a story of people that accepted the reality of what life gave them. I was among them, and I was conscripted by the SPLA, the Sudan's People Liberation Army. That was those years, with other kids given all the way to Ethiopia to be trained as soldiers with the promise that we'll go to school. And indeed, of course, we went to very funny schools that were under trees. So when you look at that story critically, studying, looking at the features of these very kids, where they are, these kids no longer like the way they are now. But by then, they had that reality of life. So what I'm going to share with us is how this story of these kids is turned out to be a story of success. Of course, it may not be 100% a story of success, but at least some of them, by sample, majority of them made it in life, despite all the challenges that they went through. Sometimes the first people that came to us, to come and visited us after we arrived in Ethiopia, we were not even like this. Almost nearly everyone was naked. And From then, of course, people of willing ground came up and donated clothes to us. They donated food. They gave us almost everything. But this is me now talking in Arizona State University, a Humphrey Fellow. So one would imagine, okay, what happened? Yes, I had my parents, they were there, but they were not with me. So basically I was living like a life of an orphan. So this story tells us that there is nothing so difficult in life as long one accepts the reality of what life presents. So the Red Army story, I went to refugee, I went to funny schools, and I made it, and I came all the way up to here. So I know there are so many people on the continent of Africa and some part of the world that are struggling to meet what their dreams is, or to make their dream comes achievable. So one would think that your story or the situation you are in is something so unimaginable, something that you can't even attempt to conquer. There is nothing so hard. If these kids made it to where they are, some of them currently are in the US here. Few of them are working in different embassies. We even have an ambassador to South American country from among these boys. There are some of them who fly jets here in this country. Some of them are back home in South Sudan, everywhere. So this story linked to how you overcome the fear or the challenges that life normally present to you at that particular time. So how do you overcome this fear, self-doubt, to foster that self-consciousness? Is when you accept that reality of what life gives you. And once you do that, of course, you have to develop some sort of emotional strength to face the reality of this life. At times, life can give us options that we do not have choices, but we have to take them like the way they are. So once such realities comes on your way, the only thing you can do is to accept and then circumvent around, find a way to use it as a strength. Normally, the best stories in life are not the good one. They are always the bitter one. And this bitter one always fit us with some kind of strength and courage and resilience to move forward with life. So this resilience, when you face this harsh situation, just like the way you saw in the pictures, that you have to fall down, of course, each and every now and then. But then as long you continue to work up every time you fall down and continue the journey, at the end of the day, you will arrive, right? So there's nothing at all wrong in falling down as long you are willing to pursue what you intend to do or what you see has ahead of you. And this comes with some kind of exploring your inner ability, exploit all the strength that nature has fitted you with. Each of us is designed with some kind of strength. And except that we tend to listen a lot more from outsiders or from the environment that, oh no, you can't even imagine trying all this. You can try anything. Anything is possible. So most of you who are stranded on the continent of Africa trying to sign application to every institution to look for a scholarship, to get to colleges, to at least realize their dream is doable. The story of former American President Obama, this Obama Senior, his dad was right. I'm told, I heard this story when Obama became a president. His father wrote so many of them, so many applications. Out of the so many he wrote, it's only one that brought him all the way to the US. And he became that very excellent academic. Once this situation presents you, you are always left with a challenge. You are always alone among the crowd. That's you, who you are. So first of all, you have to define who you are. And defining, knowing who you are is by accepting that you have that courage to overcome. So you build some sort of self-confidence of who you are. Like when you look at those boys, each of them was individual in that very situation. Of course, they are faced by the same challenge, but the way they perceive, the way they were affected by the situation may not be the same. Not all of them made it in life, of course. Some of them succumbed to realities that you saw in the picture. So individually, you have to fight in the crowd. And it is the self-confidence. By fighting, you have to ignite that inner fire in you It's that burning flame that keeps you pushing on. And it comes with self-definition as such. So how do we achieve our dreams? First, you have to master the pursuit of your dream. Your dream is your guiding star, is what is driving you. You are heading somewhere. So in life, there are always many opportunities that come, of course, like few of you may make it here. But if you cannot be able to select the only best for you by discerning all the many options that you have and go with, let's get away with all the trivial many, but just get away with one vital one. It is this vital one that will define who you are in life. So now, if you got an opportunity, this opportunity may not be presented to you the way it is. Somebody somewhere needs you to explain who you are. What do you stand for? What do you want to achieve? What do you want if given this opportunity? What would you be? What do you visualize? And this takes you to your own career objectives. The career objectives we talked about is not the one that you write down and try to, okay, colleagues or in order just to please the listener. It has to be you. You have to own it. And by owning it, it has to be something that you visualize. So if you are working deep in the middle of night, you can be able to hide it, Yeah. If you got that opportunity or granted the opportunity, there are always conflicting ideas or options or realities that at times holds us back. And one of them is the kind of the environment, the immediate environment or surrounding that we are always in is our own families. So our own families always have their own challenges and they always have their own ways of seeing things, trying to develop their kids. So these families at times hold us back. In the society where I come from, females kids were not given opportunity to go to school the way male kids were. Like when you the picture you saw, almost all of them are boys. So, and of course it was hard environment, but it turns out that some of these boys made it, had some ladies given the opportunity. Of course they are fellow human person, they would have also they would have also conquered the adversity and would have even made it. But that this is the kind of environment, the kind of families that we come from. Another challenge that we get is the people that we work with, our age mate, our peer, they call it peer pressure. This group also have their own influence over us. We tend to hold each other down. And for you to conquer among the many, as I put it before, you have to network with the right people. You should know who the people you should be working with. And by this, I always take pride in giving example of the bird eagles. Eagles doesn't just fly with this other small one. It doesn't fly with the chicken or even with those other ones that fly at low altitude, but it soars, goes higher. So if you want to tower in life among the many, you have to soar with eagle, but not bird flying with the chicken and you expect to reach certain destination. Never. It can't work that way. So I think these are the few slides that I had prepared to share with you, because when I was told to share my story with you or to talk to you, it was so difficult to come up with really a concrete topic that I should share with you. So I had to think, okay, the only thing I may do is to use my own personal story to talk to this other group of people. So I think Stella, as far here, I would stop, and if there are questions, I may revert to. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you for the time also.
Wow, thank you so much. How else could we be inspired today about conquering adversity in a competitive world, other than hearing from someone who has gone through it and conquered it no matter what? Thank you so much, Atok. I will now invite all the participants to ask their questions. We have time for question and answer, and you're free to ask your question based on what Atok has shared with us. Yeah, so please feel free to either share with us, unmute and ask a question, or post it on the Q&A.
Charles has a question.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charles Vincent from Uganda. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Charles Vincent Nyanja from Uganda. I've been really inspired by uh, our presenter's story. It was so inspiring to me. But I really have a question. Our presenter mentioned one statement that has really challenged me. He mentioned and said majority of his group during his time in the Red Army child soldiers, majority of them made it in life. But from what I visualized from his story and what I've heard, I just really want to get more light how they got all these chances. You told me some are in the US, some are, you have even an ambassador. How did you maneuver through all this story of how did you get out of the army? How did you do it? How did you make it even to go to school? Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. This is a very brilliant question. Always, people normally, I even personally, people always ask me here, like when we came to Arizona State University, first what our program, the Fulbright and Free Fellowship did was to send ahead our profiles. So a profile of you is read by somebody who hasn't seen you. So already, of course, I'm so proud of this story. So I had written everything about myself. So on arrival, everybody was eager to, okay, but oh no, how did you make it given all these challenges just the way you asked it? Okay, it is like this. If you had followed me a little bit in life, even if you are presented by a challenge, one thing you do, accept the challenge as the way it is and try to move around it to just you develop some kind of strength. So as you continue with the journey moving, you know, we are not always alone in this world. There are always people out there who can stand behind us, who can stand to pull your hands up when you are down. Except that if you are not ready, if you cannot wait for that person or those people, they don't come just quickly once you fall down, but they take a little while. And that little while requires you to have some kind of resilience, some kind of ability, some kind of confidence to push on until time somebody comes for you. So what happened to me or to some of these boys, some of them went to Kenya as refugees in Kakuma. We were a number of 26,000 children. And some of us went to Uganda. Personally, as I'm talking to you, the only national anthem I can sing in life is that of Uganda. I went to school, to primary school, to high school, to A level in Uganda. So when I went to the refugee camp, of course, I was received by the United Nations, by the Ugandan. They accommodated me. They did everything to me. You know, our fellow human person are not as bad as we sometimes perceive. And what normally happens, we tend to forget some simple thing or small things that other people place in our life that change our life. But we tend to play out just a single bad one among the many, yet forgetting that everybody is always ready to help anybody. So we were helped by the government of Uganda. By that is to me, somewhere in Kenya, somewhere in Ethiopia, and some went to Central African Republic, to Congo, of course. We didn't trace all each other, but at the end of the day, we started, I think, the Save the Children International had to develop some kind of a database for all these kids because they started following us from Ethiopia all the way when we got out from Ethiopia following the collapse of the Ethiopian regime at that time. So our story was being documented each and every day. Of course, there are those who did not make it, who passed on later, especially the majority that joined the army. Some of them succumbed to those difficulties and killing conflict. So I went to a refugee camp. In the refugee camp, I studied hard. I got a good grade. I was sponsored. I went to a national boarding school. From there, I got another scholarship. This is now an effort because if I don't do it that way, then that's the end. It wasn't me alone, some also struggled. So we became actually the bright students. And out of a scholarship, one has never paid a single coin. And if we were presented a situation where we are asked to pay school fee, I know we wouldn't even think of going to school, of course. But those who came out to help us also condition us. They told us, okay, you guys are so many. We can't help everyone. But there has to be a condition to be met for you to qualify for such a help. And a competition was generated in us. So we became tough. And those who did not make it through that regular program also were presented opportunity in Kakuma. The government of the United States repatriated, resettled most of them to the US. So the moment they arrived here, some of them were working 2 jobs, you work day and night, but as they continue doing that, they all went to school. I know a couple of them who are teaching mathematics, some of them are engineers and everything. My own younger brother also made it. He went to an elite Ivy League college, to Dartmouth College in Northeast. And he did engineering, So it's also very funny stories. So this is the answer I can give you. The answer is that you wait a little longer, and by waiting, you have to have some kind of endurance and all those other ones. And then, yeah, somebody will come for you and help. Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much. Abraham, please ask your question. Okay, I can see Asmahan's hand is up. Please ask your question.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, you can hear you. Yeah, you can go first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate, and I would actually want to thank our guest today, Atok. My name is Abraham, actually from also from South Sudan, and the history of Red Army, young boys who went to America has been so much inspiring a lot of million people around the world, and more so to South Sudanese who looked at that thing as a reality in the community. So I really enjoyed the story so much. And finally, my question is to the last point. Atok was mentioning that there's a kind of way that you have to associate yourself with a certain group of people. And to my understanding, it seemed like more kind of isolating yourself from a certain group of people that maybe can be of help, in my own understanding, can also be your relatives. Maybe a token just maybe can really understand that, because the way of life we have in our country is actually different, more of bounds and cultural stuff and other things. So when you looked at, maybe you become a kind of person that may be isolating yourself because you want to implement a certain mission, or you have a vision in your heart, it really becomes challenging. So my question is, please, would you maybe elaborate more on it, justify it, and maybe in relation to where you come from, in relation to your experience? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Abraham, my fellow country young man. I think you must be pretty younger than me, I know. And that story, thank you for acknowledging that story. This is a story that is out for public. Books have been written about it. Okay, I was talking about the kind of people that you associate with. One is that in success or in life, we study people. In the laboratory of success, people are what we use to assign to higher ground or to the highest level in life. So in fact, we don't isolate ourselves from people. But what happened here is that with the people, you should know whom you want to network with. The kind of people that you should network with is that are those that will be able to put you a notch higher, not those that will pull you down. You know how peer pressure is. A group of young people that do not have guidance at times tend to confuse each other. So what you can do is to get somebody as your role model. And this role model must be somebody that has accomplished something. It may not necessarily be somebody that you know or whom you interact with every day, but at least you should find a way to pick a role model. So this role model is somebody that you always idolize in your life. I know in East Africa, most people tend to idolize PLO, Patrick Lumumba. He's a very eloquent lawyer. He can move the crowd. So those who want to take public speaking time want to emulate him. And these are not people that who have met Patrick Lumumba in person, but they just want to idolize him. So among the crowd, you have to have somebody that you should associate with. And this is somebody that you think if you reach where he or she is, then at least you can be, based on the indicators you put out as a success. So we don't isolate ourselves. You have to use people, you have to be together with people, you network with everyone, but you should know the kind of people that you associate with. Those should not be the one that pull you down. They should not be the one that drains you. There must be people who can change your life for the better. So thank you. I hope I have answered your question.
Thank you so much, Atok. Asmahan?
Thank you, Atok. I can see we have a question from Timothy Oyo. He's asking, how did you get to Arizona State University?
Thank you, Timothy. I came to Arizona State University. Okay, one, I did not come through the regular Lost Boys program because I was in Uganda and we were not offered the same opportunity, but we had to make use of other opportunities that prepared me to come here. You know, sometimes one step can take you to another one. So after I got my basic degree and other few studies around here, I went back to South Sudan. I started working as a professional in the media industry. Of course, the state of media industry in South Sudan is that very shocking one. There's no complete freedom of press or all those kind. So even most of my colleagues are no longer active in the field. We have very bad stories. So what I did, I have a dream. I want to continue studying. I need to go to a world-class university. So I continue. I look at a program called the Humphrey Fellowship, was advertised by the American Embassy in South Sudan, and it is almost everywhere in the world. Unfortunately, this is a very competitive program. In a year, they take less than 100 or 100. And you know the number of applicants. The year I came, we were like 7,000 applicants everywhere in the world. Even people from Mexico, just next door to the US here, comes here on the same program. So you have to, we fill that application. You have to write some essays. There are questions that are a little bit funny. And this is how I came to know the art of clarity of your objectives. One thing that they ask us to do is that you have to state clearly your objectives, what you want to do and how you want to do it. Some kind of monitoring and evaluation based question. So you have to state it's not just a paragraph or sentence, but you have to write at length, number of words. So you have to explain everything into detail, and then you go answer question and question. So after that, you send your online question, somebody somewhere, group of professors come and mark them. They read them, they study them, because this is a very competitive program. They don't just open the gate for you. You have to compete, except that you do not know whom you are competing with. So I had to compete with a group of people, and I made it through and was given the offer. I did other interviews like oral interviews. I did tests of English as a foreign language and all on until I was screened. I think in South Sudan we were 36 applicants. So out of 36, unfortunately, it was me alone who made it in the year I came. They used to take 2. In Uganda, our neighboring country, there are 3. A fellow was with me. I think you may know him, a gentleman, but Johnson Mayamba was also a journalist, and another lady, I don't know which university she went. There was also a lady from Kenya, there's somebody from Ethiopia, and I think one from Central Africa. So in Africa, all the African countries, there were people. And I think majority of people come from West Africa. You know, we in East Africa sometimes don't get a lot of opportunities. So that's this how I got to myself here. So after I passed the program, they had to place me in certain university where my qualification, so that I get a course that is relevant to my qualification. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Asmahan.
Yes, Atok, I have a question. I know listening to your story, I can see you overcame a lot of challenges. My question is, did you had a mentor along the way, and how did your mentor help you achieve your current achievements?
Asman, thank you. In fact, I would say this is an area where I am so unfortunate. I have never had a mentor because I come from, even at my own family, I think as the first person to have gone to high school and graduate from high school and then follow my younger brother, my mom, who is currently an old aging woman, has never gone to school. My dad, who passed on just the day I left the United States. Imagine, it's been always a bitter story. I boarded from Juba to Addis Ababa, connecting to reaching Addis Ababa. I switch on my phone just to get connected a little bit. I got a call back from Juba. My dad passed on. This is another stressful story. Of course, he was an aging old man. And even when I left, I knew, of course, he may not make it long. And except that I didn't know the day. So I have not had a mentor directly, but I made use of what I call the role model, people that I idolize, that at least in life, sometime, somewhere, I would want to be like any of them. So that's what and I read a lot of biographies, by the way. There's something beautiful about it. Most people out there who have written about their biographies have either gone through some challenges or have had some hit in their career pursuits and all those. So basically, that's what I did.
Thank you so much for that response. I can see a hand up from Lawani. Please go ahead.
Welcome, Lawani.
Thank you very much. This is really a very inspiring history. I really love it. Thank you very much for inspiring us. Thank you very much for the way you talk about your history, Mr. Atok. What I just want to ask you is to tell you first is that as a mentor, this will be a very how do you say uti? You know, I'm from a French speaking country, so my English is not very well.
We are all struggling.
Yeah, I'm finding the word. I find the word. It's a tool. This communication will be a good tool for us to encourage to motivate our mentee. Okay, part of this Baobab platform mentorship program. My question is, what was the role of the fête? Fête, I don't know, la foi. Okay, I think that it is fête. You know, when you
FATE.
Yes, FAETH. Yeah, fête. Okay, what is the role of fête in your resilience? Because my predecessor said that if you had a mentor, you say no. But I think that sometimes our little children, our mentee, some of them have a good faith in God, and this faith can push them forward. Okay, so I just want to ask you if this play a role in your history. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Loani. And in fact, I would say faith played a role in our life, in my own life as a person, and the life of other fellow colleagues whom we were together. You know, if you may not be so familiar with how the whole conflict in Sudan started, it had a lot to do with religion. The southern part of the Sudan that became now South Sudan was predominantly the Africans, the Black African, whom majority are believe in their own African traditional, and few that were in town were Christian. So but I was also baptized later, as if you can see my second name is Dan. When we went to Ethiopia, because it was a desperate situation, kids were all littered everywhere of the same age. They had no parent, nobody to rely on. But then there were a few religious men, Christian. So they came to us. They were teaching us in our own Dinka language. So, and most of us were baptized. And I think exclusively, almost everyone of us became a Christian. In the Christian teaching, of course, there are a lot of hopes in the stories they do give us, is that this and this and this, especially the story of Jobs in the Old Testament, was something that everybody that can resonate well with each of us. So actually, faith gives us some hope, some promises, and a reason to continue with life. So except that I had no personal pastor or a religion man, but they come to us, they teach us in our own language, they did everything to us, they inspired us, they even try to change our behaviors, in our own traditional, the Dinka society where I come from, is that we don't believe in resurrection, but we believe in life after death. So, but the version of the Judeo-Christianity we got is that there's a day of resurrection, and you will be judged based on your deeds as a person. So they were actually also trying to when you are in desperate situation, at times you can settle for anything. You can do anything, even desperate move. That's why at times people end up committing certain crime. But if there's something to guide you, to control your behavior, like the faith, religion, they play a role in shaping the life of young people. So I think, yeah, there was something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Atok, given that you've given us your experience and the challenges you went through and how you conquered all challenges, what advice will you give to young participants today who are going through various challenges in life and probably do not know how to navigate them or cannot see the light beyond the challenges?
Thank you again for this good question. One, if you are young, then you still have a lot to do in your life. You still have a lot of opportunities. Unfortunately, being young also is a predisposed to other challenges. But if you are young and you listen to people, like my story, you have a room to shape your life. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the families that we got ourselves in, but we can change the future. We can begin right now. So whatever you will meet later in your life, whether you are a professional, whether you are doing the kind of whichever is what the decision that you took today. So young people tend not to listen to certain stories because we know we have our own world of, when I was young, we had a different world. I know if I'm to reverse my years now, I would even be much better than I am today, because there are a lot of things that I didn't do simply because of that age. So listening to me, what you can do, begin to exercise being big in thinking in terms of ideas, begin to aim higher. Don't fly with chicken, fly with eagles, and begin to shape your ideas. Of course, and don't give up. You can try sending so many applications, looking for a scholarship or even looking for jobs. Out of the many that you try, it's not all of them that are yours. Of course, you remember the world is also, we are sharing life. So if I haven't got this opportunity, then let it be for that person. There's also one among the so many opportunities, or that will be mine. So keep on trying. So what I can tell you is that keep on trying, network with the right people, befriend people. Remember, people are what we study in the industry or the laboratory of success. So you have to network with people, befriend everyone that comes your way. Each and every person you meet in your lifetime will have a role to play in your life later. It's always, if you associate well with the people, there always comes a challenge in your lifetime. And this challenge, there's always one person who can solve it. It's somebody that you had entirely unknown. So if you mismanage your relationship with the people and comes that challenge, you will of course shy away from contacting that person, or even that person may not be ready to help you. And that's how they came up with the concept of referees. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Atok. Today, we acknowledge the presence and participation of all the French speakers. I will request Rebecca to announce to the French speakers that they can be translated. Kindly help translate so that we can have, the session can be more interactive. I can see there are so many interesting questions coming in. Thank you all for your questions. And yeah, so as we go on, please feel free to type your question on the chat or to raise your hand. So there's a question, Atok. You've given us your experience about mentorship and how you did not really feel mentorship firsthand. But at this stage in your life, what does mentorship mean to you?
Thank you once again, Stella. You know, mentorship is not just the way it is we perceive it. Mentorship is somebody that impacts a lot more in your life. Like when I came to Arizona State University, you know, American society is a very good society. They may have their own challenges, but there's one good things that they have that most of us who come from the continent of Africa do not have. One is that they introduce us to two people. One is a mentorship. There has to be somebody to mentor you. So I had a gentleman, a professor, who mentors me. He looks at my writing. He even talks to me in terms, he guides me in terms of career pursuits or what I want to do. You know, sometimes we are distracted by certain things in life. But if there's no, it's like if you watch football, the soccer, the American call it, if you are playing in the pitch, the people outside there always see a lot of opportunities that you can utilize to turn into a goal. But you who is busy there chasing the ball, you don't see it at all. But the people outside, they watch, they observe the weaknesses of that team or the opponent. And so when you get out for the break, they will be able to spot them. Okay, do it this way, do it this way. This is exactly the role a mentor plays in our lifetime. Another second person that they introduced us to when we came to the USC is somebody they call global friend. I got a lady of, I think, nearly 60 years. She's also, she has a PhD in psychiatric medicine and all those other ones. So she became my global friend. So the role of a global friend is more or less also the role of a mentor. So this global friend can come to me either once a week or depending on her schedule. She would drive me in town, take me everywhere, do some few shopping, introduce me to several other people. Okay, so we don't have them actually in our societies. So in universities, students do not have mentors. They have here. So I got a mentor for the first time when I came here, and I interacted a lot more with that fellow. So this is what I will say about a mentor. A mentor is very important. So if you are in university, if you are in a workplace or wherever you are, even if you are already out and looking for a job, you also need to get a mentor, somebody to guide you through job site and how to conduct yourself when even in a certain profession. So mentor is very important. We wish to introduce it on our continent, in our universities.
Thank you so much for that elaborate response. We are really getting inspired by your story, and the more you respond to these questions, the inspiration even goes up the more. There's this question asking, what will you do, Atok, right now that your future self will thank you for?
As I'm speaking with you, I'm 44 years old, and I'm still having some 20 more years to be active before I could, if nature allows me or gives me that opportunity. I think I'll have to do a lot more. When I realized that I wasn't so good in keeping record of people that I meet. Sometimes I was so choosy. There was a question that Abraham asked that, okay, if we don't associate with the people, what do we do? Again, there are people that they sometimes look simple. At times we tend to be so judgmental on people that we interact with. I was not so good in dealing with people. I know I have gone to school, I have read books, and I can share my I can attend interviews and get jobs. But then my sphere of connection was not so wider enough. And it is one thing I came to learn a lot here. If there's anything about this country, if I can get to Stella, I wanted Stella to help me with the certain thing. Stella may not have it, but Stella may have an idea of somebody she can contact, and that person may have another person leading to the what I want. Is that they network a lot more. So I think I will have to introduce that in my own life. I have to network with different people. If it means looking for a job, I'll have to network with people. If it means getting certain help somewhere, I'll have to get connected with people. So at times, of course, not everything is within our within the purview of our disposal, but we have to get connected with the people. So this is one thing I'm going to do. And I will also continue reading, of course. I need to perfect my writing ability, my speaking ability. You know, English is also remains a second language to us. So I also need to learn more. You know, it's all about learning. It's all about connectivity, connecting with the right people, networking with the right people. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have time for like 2 more questions. And I would like to ask, you're now a professional in the media industry. In any way, did your experience growing up shape your career path?
Okay, media is another difficult field sometimes. Media is so good, so nice profession in a country where there are strong democratic values. I think in almost in the sub-Saharan Africa, also in the Eastern Africa region, Kenya is by far doing better because of the democratic values that this country is trying to live towards or trying to achieve. In South Sudan or Uganda, partly South Sudan, Ethiopia, Sudan, Eritrea, and all other ones, the state of media is a very bad one. So at times you end up being radicalized. You know, you see, if there's something so bad about you not living to your career goal, that you are required to behave in certain ways. It's like somebody programmed to control you, can switch you on off at any time he or she feels like. So the media industry, of course, exposes you. And how I got to choose journalism is even connected with our story. You know, when we used to walk those long distances, we were fed almost entirely or 100% on propagandas, on rumors, on fake news. So all time we can get a story, a story that applies in our life, or that we can convert into a positive, into something that change our life. This story may be today, but we will get it later after a month or plus. So there was this big man syndrome, the man that have access to almost everything. And when I came growing up, I later came to learn that there's this career called journalism. The journalism, they swing around. They go up, they go down, they have access to big men, they have access to even the normal one in the society. So yeah, so I choose it so that I can have the privilege. So yeah, I can, a journalist, I'm carrying my card, I can have access to everyone, and I can talk to everyone. And yeah.
Thank you so much. As we draw close to the end of the Q&A session, there is an interesting question that has been asked. Being resilient means facing difficulties head-on instead of falling into despair or using unhealthy coping strategies. When one goes through this process, sometimes it gets really tiring. How do you overcome it?
The healthy coping mechanism is when we tend to give in and we tend to shy away from facing the reality of what life gives us. So the resilience is that one, accept the situation that life presents to you, and then live through it. Try to learn even how to cope with it. It's like you are left, if say for instance, if you are walking around at night or in a bush where you think you may not be secure. So what do you normally do? You have to fit your mind and the whole entire system of your own self to withstand any adversity that comes your way. So this is all about resilience, and that's what I call, there's nothing wrong in falling down as long you wake up each and every time and you continue the journey. So you have to resist. You have to be a little bit tougher to face it. Yeah. I don't know whether I got the question right, but I think that's how I can answer it.
Yes, your question, the question was really answered well. And now we come to the end of the Q&A session. I will only request you to give one word or just one parting shot you will tell the participants today about the session that they will go remembering about a story of resilience. So what's one line, one sentence you will tell them as we close?
Thank you again. I'll tell you as a conclusion, continue the fight, continue the push. There's nothing wrong in falling down as long you are ready to get up each and every time and continue the journey. It's just continue the push. And of course, the push will be guided by your own career or say your own guiding star or vision. Because each and every time you fall down, you have to continue with the journey because somewhere there's something you are chasing. You want to arrive. It doesn't matter whether you arrive late or much earlier. As long as you arrive, you will feel contented that you have achieved what you intended to. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Atok. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in today's session. And we really appreciate your time. We are all inspired and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Have a nice evening, a good morning, good
Thank
rest
you.
of your day.
Yeah, nice evening there to everyone. Thank you. Yeah, you can, they can, I don't know whether I need to drop my email if somebody need to have a question or try to establish some kind of contact with me, I can just drop in my...
Sure, please feel free.
Yeah, I'm dropping it here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think my email is there. If one has a question or something that he or she needs to be clarified, then I can be contacted through that email. Thank you.
You and I, we're breaking bounds on Baobab.